drop anchor at one of the small sand cays, launch the dinghy, and go ashore to investigate the disastrous crown of thorns plague. We find the crown of thorns all right, also barren reef, where they've eaten their way through, leaving only desolation behind them. A distant relative of the familiar starfish, these creatures attach themselves to the coral by the cups of their tentacles and devour the animal life in the coral, leaving only dead forests behind them. They have already killed vast areas of the Great Barrier Reef. Unless they can be checked, the entire reef may be destroyed. This is only a drop in the bucket. We didn't get our 1,000 pounder the 6th year, but it's the 7th year now, and Dolly catches a bait and we start to troll. It's a big crash strike from the blue, and we don't know what size it is. He goes down and I pump to bring him up. He feels big. He clears the water, our pulses quicken, he is big. 300, 400 yards straight down. I finally get him up, and he's like a team of runaway mules. He nearly pulls me overboard, but I work on him to the limit of the 130-pound breaking strain line. We have a new mate, Bill, and he grabs the 30 feet of wire you're allowed at the end of your line. Bill's strong and fearless. To get his hands tangled in the wire could mean joining the fish or no hands. But he knows his job. I've got the gaff ready, and the skipper's trying to keep him from going under the boat. I reach out with the gaff, miss, and there goes my hat. Next time I get the gaff into his back and he settles down a bit. So the skippers laughed in Florida when I had the huge door put in the stern. Now you can see why it has to be big. Two people who contributed so much to his capture size him up, Dolly on the camera and Charlie on the wheel. That's about the proudest flag we've ever flown. We are 60 miles from the scales and still not sure if we'll reach the magic figure, 1,000 pounds. So a sheet and some water will help keep the weight up. At the way station, eager hands help unload him. There were many oohs and ahs as his head clears the war. Don't keep me in suspense, Jock. Let's weigh him. Did he make it? With some to spare, says Jock. 1,086 pounds. 23 years of game fishing, 7 years of concentrated toil and dedication in the same area, not to mention the expense, and we've finally weighed a 1,000-pound black marlin. We'd kept champagne chilled for 7 years just for this occasion. Dolly and Charlie had been with me every day, so maybe I can be forgiven for this bit of horseplay. day was a lay day, and Dolly made friends with a pair of homeless cats on the wharf. They relished the bowl of milk she gave them. In fact, they drank like milk was going out of fashion. Now everybody's happy. Anyway, the pressure's off now, and we find time to do a bit of snorkeling over Ruby Reef. If you've never stuck your head under the water on the Barrier Reef, you have no idea how beautiful and fascinating it can be. A poisonous but not vicious sea snake breaks up the party. In the cockpit, Dolly and the crew sort the shells they've found. Next day is a holy terror. There's a big swell from the southeast and wind on top. But we're here, so we may as well give it a go. And there he is. It's really too rough to fish, and he's a candidate for a tag. Now watch this next jump. He almost comes aboard. Wow, that was close. If the skipper hadn't shot ahead, he would have joined us in the cockpit. He's tiring now, and no wonder. We get him back and lead him alongside for the tag. He's 500 or 600 pounds and very happy with his freedom, believe me. We haven't tagged him or cut the wire yet, but any minute now. There goes the tag. And the wire cutters. A very happy fish. That afternoon, behind the reef, we have a visitor. He's an ordinary sparrow, and we're at least 35 miles offshore. He takes a few sips of water and stays the night. Next day, he perches on the windscreen and takes in the action. He must have been caught in a heavy wind to be brought so far from land. Dolly feeds him breakfast cereal and breadcrumbs. He soon gets his strength back and takes over the fly bridge. In fact, he starts chirping and even has a bath in a saucer. On the third morning, this was the last we saw of him. I'm sure he had enough strength to fly to the shore. We're trolling again. The world record on 130 pounds breaking strain line is 1,560 pounds. The world record for 80 pound line is 1,077. So we decide we want a world record for cans. It'll be easier to find a fish around 1,100 pounds than 1,600, so we're using 80 pound line. Just when we think we've got him licked, he puts on steam, and I have to go to work on him hard again. got the wire, but he's as strong as a stallion. It's impossible to hold him. The wire's to hand again, and he's going under the boat. The skipper shoots ahead, but Bill is able to hang on. He takes a double wrap. I'm ready with the gaff. Bill takes another double, and another. Just a little bit closer. But he's still too strong to hold. I get back in the chair to bring the wire to the mate's hands again. He's back, and Bill is really pulling wire. Kevin's waiting with the gaff this time, but he's just out of reach. But Bill is able to hold him and brings him up from the deep. Kevin makes a pass with the gaff and misses. Then he reaches past Bill and gets the gaff in, but the marlin is far from subdued. I come up with a second gaff and finally get it in. The marlin still shows signs of breaking away. Talk about a shower, we got a monsoon. Even Dolly, filming on the flybridge, was soaked. The camera lens got it too. Charlie leaves the wheel, grabs a hand gaff and says, "I'll hold his tail while you get a rope over it." Now this sounds like a good idea, but we didn't reckon on the power of that tail.